Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH and I am back for another interesting video for you guys this time. Right now, you're looking at the my home screen on my PlayStation Vita, and if you've been following the channel for some time now, you're probably wondering, well, didn't you already do a hardware review for the Vita? Yes, I did. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I do cover some of its features and what I like about it, what I would like to see improved. However, I have a very different reason for recording this video. And, you know, typically, again, if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know, I try to at least get a video up to you guys at least once a week. Typically on a Saturday, I will almost always try to get a video up for you guys. Because I've had more to cover, and I've had a little bit of time here and there. I've had a lot of video content created, so I've been able to give you guys a video on Wednesdays as well, for the last couple of months. But you guys are going to get an extra video this week because I don't really want to sit on this video because it's pretty cool. The reason that we're looking at the PlayStation Vita right now is because Sony, I learned a couple of days ago actually, they were going to release a new firmware version for both their PlayStation 4 and their PlayStation Vita. Now, firmware updates are usually, I mean, they're big deals, but they're not like, oh, okay, yeah, another firmware update, cool, we're going to fix some more bugs, add a few more features, cool. But one that really caught my attention is on both the PlayStation 4 and the Vita, in the updates that have both released today, I'm recording this on March 26th, 2015, and in these updates they've added accessibility. They've added some accessibility features. Now, I'm going to come back to this at the end of the video because I want to start moving the video along and demoing stuff for you. But what I will say is that the PlayStation 4 seems, I don't have a PlayStation 4, so I'm not able to test those and I'm not able to show them to you guys, unfortunately, right now. But the PlayStation 4 does have a couple of extra features that seemingly the Vita yet does not. One of them I was particularly interested in, and I didn't realize that the Vita wasn't going to have it in this firmware. The PlayStation 4 does have text-to-speech added for its menus and interface, and possibly, not sure, but possibly the PlayStation Store. So that is very, very cool if that were the case. The Vita does not have the text-to-speech. When I read about the updates, I thought that both of them were going to have that, but the Vita does not yet. However, it does still have some accessibility features. So we're looking at our home screen right here. Now, I have pretty much the settings set to normal. I think I do have bold text enabled right now, but look at how small camera, look at how small that text is, okay? There's my PlayStation Store panel. There's my settings panel. We're going to go into here, and I'm going to go back just so you can see. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the settings menu, a couple options up, basically three options up, accessibility. So they've added some pretty cool stuff in here. So there's a few different things for vision. There is zoom, which will, let me just tap on it here, I'll show you. So it shows you a diagram of the PlayStation Vita. And what you do is you got your PlayStation button down there in the lower left. And you have your, what is that, square button? Yeah. You hold those down together, and it will kind of do a zoom. Then you can use your left analog stick or your D-pad over here. A little dark there, sorry guys. But you can use your D-pad or your analog stick to pan around the screen. Or you can take your finger and kind of slide it around the screen as well. Hit your circle button over there to cancel, and you'll be back to normal. So let's go back I do have that enabled. It will show you that for sure a couple times throughout this video here. We've got invert colors, which can be cool, but I do want to talk about that a little bit here. Whoa, that's so your green becomes this really hot pink, purple-esque. That's kind of loud. We're going to get rid of that. I prefer the green, to be honest with you. Then you have, for now I have it disabled, but I have, so large text, yes, I want to enable it. And hopefully you can tell on the video, hopefully you can tell that the size of the text, wait, what the hell did I just do? Okay, I don't know why There we go. That's much. I'm like, that doesn't seem any larger. Somehow I must have hit something and reset the settings or something. Now you can see that the menu text in the settings area is much bigger, which is definitely welcome, because anything text heavy on the Vita, if you watch my original review, I said as a low vision gamer, a lot of text heavy stuff, you know, in the menu interface or even in some games, like to get set up, I had to really almost sometimes use a CCTV or use my phone to kind of figure out where the options were on the screen, and so that I could get set up, or to read certain messages and stuff like that. So in addition to large text, we've got bold text as well. That kind of fattens up the text a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to read. High contrast. This, I have it checked. I'm not exactly sure. I don't notice a whole lot of difference, but I think what it mainly does is it kind of makes some of the colors pop out more. So like instead of being more gradient, some of the stuff will be a little bit sharper. Then we've got closed caption, and what's neat about this, I don't really enable it because I don't really need it, and closed captions are hard for me to read to begin with. But hey, you know what? If you have a hearing impairment, or if you just, you know, are in a quiet environment, or you need to be able to read the subtitles, there you go. You can enable that system wide, or you can. There's a thing where you can customize. So any app that you have on here that supports it, you can disable and enable the closed captioning at will. So that's pretty sweet. Let's go back. Closed captioning. Now this next one, especially on the PlayStation 4, this is going to be really cool for a lot of people, I can tell already. Button assignments. Now I'm not really going to play in here, but I'll at least kind of show you, like, you can turn it on. When you do, you're going to get like a table of all the buttons that are on your system. And basically, let's say you have a game where you have to do a lot of things with, maybe you have some primary action that is on your right side on one of your face buttons, but then there's also really a primary thing on your left trigger, let's say. And if you have really if, let's say, you have more strength in your right hand and you're not able to use your left hand, let's say, so much, you could take something that is not used or not used nearly as often on your face buttons over here, and you could say, I'm going to make that my L button, and I'm going to make this other button where the L trigger is, or I can switch any of these buttons around, so you can completely customize it. So another thing that I've also heard people use it for is, I guess in Japan the circle and the X buttons are inverted, or they're mixed up. So if you're going from one region to another, it's confusing, because like X is always confirm and circle is always back, and then you go one place and then it's the other place. It's just the opposite. So if you're used to one or the other and you're playing imports or something, that can be something that's kind of cool as well. I have heard in the little bit of research that I've done since this has come out, one thing that people are asking about for the button reconfiguration is that could you have the option, because right now if you do that, it's going to do it system-wide. So whether you're in the main menu, the settings, the App Store, or in-game. So people are asking for, more control over, maybe I just want the buttons to be switched in a certain game, or maybe I just want it on the home screen in the store, or in a menu or something, instead of maybe not necessarily in a game. But hey, at least having that flexibility, it's a great first step. And like I said, for people with mobility impairments, that's a great thing to have. And then on the bottom here, you have another option for enabling, adding these accessibility features to the quick menu. So if I hold down the PlayStation button, and I can do this anywhere, I can do it in here, I can do it in the store, wherever, or in a game. You get your typical like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, flight mode, brightness, sound, whatever. But if I go down to the bottom, you see now I have an accessibility section. And interestingly, and I'm not quite sure why, I have a checkbox for invert color and enable custom buttons, which is good, but I can't scroll down any further. I'm wondering why large text and bold text aren't there. Like, I would just put them all there. I mean, they're just checkboxes, so I'm not quite sure why those two don't appear. But nevertheless, they did think about having a quick way to get at the accessibility options to turn them on and off. So that is pretty cool. So that is your accessibility options in the PlayStation Vita as they are now in version 3.50. I'm going to go back to the home screen here real quick. And let's go. Now we look at our icons. The text is still a little bit small, but you can tell it's way bigger. I mean, it's actually halfway readable. So that's pretty cool. Now the problem with this is going to be, I'm sorry for the crazy video, but okay, so hopefully I did that right. Yeah. What I was doing is I have to hit the PlayStation button and the square button. Now I've turned zoom on. See, now if I'm using my analog stick over here on the left, I can pan around. Now it's not zoomed in a lot, but it is something. And it does help in some areas, especially some areas more than others. So I can pan around. It's a little choppy, but you're not going to use this typically in gameplay. This is for reading menus or navigate. You can do this in the PlayStation Store, that kind of thing. Let me hit circle to get out of it. See, now we're back to normal. Let me go to the store because I do want to mention one thing that I haven't quite figured out. Okay, it's not going to let me do that. Let's go to the store. The home screen, it's bigger, and the zoom does take effect in the store, but I'm not necessarily convinced that I notice a lot of difference in the store as far as the bold text and the large text go. This stuff here might be a little bit bigger, maybe. If it is, it's not much. So I'm not sure if it's affecting the store. Now I'm going to tap on one of these games, because again, I can tell you if I scroll down to this paragraph, that's still pretty dang small. Let me zoom in a little bit here. That's still really small, and I'm not able to read that hardly at all on my own. Again, I'm going to apologize for the awkward view on the video here, but we're gonna, now I have zoomed in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm using my analog stick or my D-pad to pan across the page. So again, it's not much larger, but it is a little bit. Still, you know, if I'm looking at this without the phone, or if I'm looking at it straight up, a little bit easier to read, but again, even though the paragraph is still a little bit tough for me to read, but it is there. It's like, especially if someone has just a minor visual impairment, just needs the text to be a little bit larger. These little features will really help. So that is kind of where we are in the version 3.5 of the PlayStation Vita firmware. So before I wrap up, I'd like to kind of talk about, you know, just about this whole accessibility stuff in general on consoles and handhelds, and some ways I think that they could improve this even further. I mean, first thing I will say, before I go into any, like, yeah, I'd like to see a few more improvements and a few features added. What I will say is that I was really surprised, very, very pleasantly surprised, to see, to hear the announcement that Sony is adding accessibility to their systems, and not that it's going to be coming out, in the next year or two, that, oh yeah, this next firmware update, there you go, PS4 and Vita has some accessibility features. So as far as the Vita goes, I'm really only going to be able to speak to this from a low vision point of view, because you know, I don't have as much experience with some of the accessibility features for like mobility. I mean, the button reconfiguration is huge. That's really, really cool. I can definitely see, you know, where other people said a little bit more customization, like maybe I just wanted to happen the button assignments in the home screen and in a menu, or the home screen in the store, but maybe on a per game basis. You know, maybe they want to have that not happen in a game or only for certain games. So, you know, yeah, they could maybe add a little bit more with that, but hey, for a start, that's an excellent thing that they included. So, from a vision point of view, the large text, I think what would be kind of cool, let me actually go into the accessibility thing just so it's easier to look at here. Let me go back in to there. So here we have our accessibility screen again. So invert colors, or actually, you know what, let's just go right down the list. So zoom, cool idea. I love the fact that you can just hit that button combo and zoom in. One way I could see this being really improved, especially for people like myself who have more severe vision impairments. You know, my vision sucks to the point where, like, I can see graphics generally okay to play games, but text is generally a problem for me. So what I think would be really cool, and this would be possible both with the PlayStation 4 and the Vita, because they both have 2 analog sticks. So, whoops, I actually tapped something. There we go. What I would like to see is, let's say you turn that on, you turn zoom on, and what I think would be really cool is not just to have this one fixed, okay, this is what it's going to look like zoomed in. I think what they could do is, let's say, have the left analog stick pan you around like it is now, but then if you take your right analog stick and you could zoom in and out with that. So you're moving left and right, up and down with your left analog stick, and then your right analog stick, you know, maybe push it up to zoom in, down to zoom out. That would be really, really cool, because then you could actually adjust the magnification. I mean, yeah, it might look a little pixelated if you zoom in too far, but even, you know, something to the degree of like what you get on Windows Magnifier or Zoom on iOS or the Mac. You know, just having that extra adjustment to the zoom, that would be a very, very cool thing. And like I said, both systems have the 2 analog sticks, so you could easily do that. So that's how I'd like to see zoom improved. Now, invert colors, that is really cool, and in some areas it'll definitely be helpful. I think they could have one thing I'd like to see is they could add a custom colors mode. Maybe there's another altogether option that says custom colors. And so instead of just inverting it, they could work sort of like how, again, a screen magnifier program like Zoom Text or Magic would work, where, or even, you know, some apps like Voice Dream on iOS, the Voice Dream apps, where if you do custom, you'll go into a separate menu and it'll say foreground color or text color and then background color. So instead of having this green background here, and then the blue on the store and the home page or the home screen there, the dashboard, whatever you want to call it, having this custom colors would override that, and maybe somebody wanted a hard black background and yellow text, or maybe they wanted a blue background and white text, and then that could come across, like I said, maybe not in every game, but at least in the settings area, the PlayStation Store, and the dashboard or the home screen. So that's something I think, because inverting the colors, that purple pink thing, that almost makes it worse. You know, inverted colors really helps if you're looking at a lot of things, like on a computer, if you're looking at Microsoft Word or a lot of programs that use white as their background, so switching that to be a black. But because the PlayStation Vita and the PlayStation 4, they use so many other colors, you know, not just white and black and a couple other colors. Like you got gradients all over the place, and so like even on the top of the screen, you notice that the letters are more legible than on the bottom because you get that gradient down there. So if you had this custom colors option and you had the whole background to be black, that could actually help. And then it would be uniform. Yeah, it wouldn't look quite as clean, but if you do have that type of vision impairment, that will actually help you even a little bit more. So that's another option in addition to inverted colors that I'd like to see. Text, large text. Maybe, again, if let's say you tapped on large text, maybe it could take you to another submenu that, you know, even if it was, you know, presets, but maybe you had 3 to 5 presets, maybe one a little bit smaller than what this is, and maybe 1 or 2 that were bigger than what we're looking at here. And again, since it doesn't look like some of this large text when I was looking at that paragraph for the in the PlayStation Store, at least on the Vita, I can't speak to the PS4 again because I don't have one, but I would like to see that that zoom does apply to that text as well. Bold text, I'm fine with that. That can stay the same. Let's see, what else do we have? High contrast. If you added that custom colors thing that I was talking about near the inverted colors thing, I think that maybe that high contrast could kind of stay the way it is. Maybe if it just kind of sharpens things a little bit. So those are the couple things. I mean, honestly, those are the things as far as low vision goes, because like I said, we're at a pretty good start. Some of the stuff I still do have trouble reading, especially on the small screen of the Vita. So, but it does make it easier. Like, I don't have to rely on my phone near as much, at least in some areas of the interface. Store not really included. And like I said, the PlayStation 4, their firmware update today has also included some text-to-speech for their menus. I don't know how extensive that is, and I can't speak to that because, like I said, I don't have the system. I really, really wish I did to play with that right now. But I would love to see that text-to-speech also make it to the Vita. And again, make it in the settings, and the home screen, and the store. And even if I were to go, you know, have it apply to this interface when I touch, where is my, let me see. Yeah. You know, so when I touch this thing, it'll tell you what it is. If I were to close this, or go to here. Let's go back. If I tap this little, notification bar, I could arrow through and it would speak to me the progress bar of my download or any notifications that I had in here. So text-to-speech for that would be, even for me, like, would be very welcome. I would prefer to navigate the actual interface via text-to-speech over large print and magnification in my case. So I was kind of disappointed to see that text-to-speech was not included, or at least from what I can tell, what I can find, not on the Vita. But hey, you know what? Like I said, that's okay. It's a first start, and again, I'm just really surprised that accessibility is actually starting to come to more mainstream products, including game consoles. To be perfectly honest with you, I figured that it would be Microsoft that would have done it first because, they're working on Windows 10. I talked about in the CSUN video, I talked about their sessions about Windows 10 and how they're improving narrator. They want to be able to have it where, let's say a blind person could go into Word and read, write, and edit a research paper. With that level of functionality with narrator on Windows, seeing as how some of that stuff is shared in the Xbox One interface, I would have thought that narrator maybe would have been the first, Microsoft would have been the first one to add any level of accessibility. But you know what? Hey, go Sony. That's just really cool to see. And especially now that you have things, you have the Apple TV, you have the Comcast X1 box that is going to offer your text-to-speech. You have PlayStation 4 adding some of this and adding some of these low vision features on the PS4 and the Vita. Microsoft is going to have to. And Nintendo, I would love to see them do it too. I don't know if they will for their Wii U, but I would love to see it on the Wii U. I would love to see it on their DS especially, because some of those menus are really tough to see. And whatever future consoles they come out with, hopefully when they announce their new system, hopefully they'll be thinking about accessibility as well. But yeah, like I said, is it perfect? No, of course not. It's a version 1 of the accessibility stuff. But like I said, I will definitely give Sony credit because they have actually added some of this accessibility stuff. The button customization I know is going to be a huge thing for many people, especially if you're using alternate controllers and input devices, or being able to use like a Switch and, maybe a Switch and a controller or a custom controller, being able to just remap those buttons globally on, not only the Vita but the PlayStation 4 will be huge. As a low vision, as a, hearing impaired person, having the closed captioning globally, excellent. Low vision, I like the increased text size. I like the zoom. I've already talked about how I would like to see both of those improved even more because, like I said, I have crap vision and really bad vision, and even some of the text that is enlarged maybe isn't quite as large as I need it to be. So those are a couple of suggestions that I would have for that. And again, I'd like to see it applied to the PlayStation Store, because that's where, if you're not in a game, that's really where you're going to be. You're going to be looking to buy games. You're going to be looking to download PlayStation Plus titles or get demos or what have you. So being able to navigate the store with this text-to-speech, with this low vision, invert colors, custom colors, all those types of things would be very, very helpful. So, you know what? They made their first step, and this is actually really huge. Regardless, because, like I said, I've been talking about accessibility on a console I've been thinking about that for a really long time, especially when like the Xbox 360 and even the original Xbox and stuff came out, where, the old console, you just stuck the cartridge in and you played. But now that you have all these, your consoles can do so much more. They actually have these kind of dashboard interfaces. There's, of course, I'm low battery. Thank you. But they have these these dashboards that have so much more stuff being added to them all the time, and some of the interfaces are not organized super efficiently or super well to begin with. So as a low vision user, it can be even a little bit more tricky. So I didn't think we would get anyone trying this accessibility stuff as soon as we did. But like I said, I'm really, really glad that it did. I'd love to see Microsoft announce something soon. I would love to see Nintendo announce something soon. And I would love to see Steam and Origin also think about accessibility. Like for Steam, it's on Windows, at least this, the Windows version or the Mac version. I can zoom in with Windows Magnifier or zoom on the Mac, and I can zoom in. But if I do require speech to read a lot of text, you can't. A screen reader just dies. It doesn't speak anything when you're in Steam. So, having that would be really, really helpful. I know it's doable because if you go to the Steam website, Steam-powered website, it looks pretty similar, and it's not perfect, but there's a lot more text that is readable. Like, if you're reading about a game or its features or system requirements, that stuff you can read on the website, but you can't within the Steam client. You can't read your Steam chat or your messages or community, whatever. So, with more and more mainstream, I've seen a lot more in the last year or two. I've seen quite a bit more attention paid to mainstream products and even mainstream press or websites covering accessibility and game accessibility. And it started with like the iPhone, then you had Android, then you have Windows Phone is getting it, you've got VoiceOver for Mac, you've got Windows Magnifier that's become better, and Windows Narrator, even in Windows 8, has gotten a bit better and is supposed to be even improved more in Windows 10. Finally, we're starting, we got the Apple TV. Again, the Comcast thing, the Comcast set-top box, and now the PlayStation 4 and the Vita. So, especially now that I think so many other companies are doing it, the remaining few, I think, are going to have to at least play catch up. You got the Rokus, you got the Amazon, you got the Google Fire or the Google TV things. I would say within the next 5 years, if things go as I hope that they would go, in the next 5 years or so, I would love to see, and I would hope to see, that it may not be perfect, but you at least have a base level of accessibility as kind of a standard. So when you buy a consumer electronics product, that you actually do get this base level of accessibility options, no matter if you have a vision or mobility or hearing impairment, whatever. These features are just starting to become included standard. I would love to see that. And I don't think, with all the products that are out there now, I don't think that's necessarily out of the realm of possibility. So I know this has gone on a little longer than I thought it would, as usual, but I did want to record this and give you guys a bonus video this week, because this is actually really huge news. I know a lot of mainstream sites, they're going to mention it, but they're, probably kind of gloss over it a little bit. But if you have a disability, or you have trouble, gaming or whatever at all, this stuff is going to be really, really impactful. So, good job, Sony, and keep it up. I'd love to see some of these improvements that I mentioned here, and other guys, you can do it too. Come on, that'd be great. So, and again, before I wrap it up, I just want to say again, thanks to the people that have been subscribing lately. I've seen quite a few more subscribers in the last couple of weeks, and I've got a couple of bumps on Twitter. A couple people mention me on Twitter, which is great, and I've got quite a bit of retweets on those mentions, so that seems to be drawing a lot more traffic. So again, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's BGFH79 on Twitter, and subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and tell anyone else that you think may find these useful. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.